Hello, this is Miss Culpepper, and this video is part one of a two-part video series about the steps needed to import new records. So you do, of course, have to be an employee to actually access LAUSD's library system. As you can see that I am already uh, logged in, and there is a separate video that gives you instructions in terms of how to maneuver through the actual library system. But for now, this video is going to talk specifically about the steps to import what's called a MARC file. So a MARC file is a file that a distribution company or book company will make accessible to me of the books that I have purchased. I usually use the MARC file to import books if I have ordered a large amount of books. So that's why it works. That's when it works best for me. And companies like, Tidal Wave or Permabound or the Junior Library Guild, they all provide some type of file that is accessible and compatible with your library system. So in this case, it would be Destiny Library Resource Manager. So the first thing that you want to do is you are logged in and you want to click on the catalog link. From here, it's going to default to the library search, but we are looking for today importing titles. So that's what we want to do. So we're going to click on that link. And what populates on the screen are the different criteria, some in which the district allows us to change, and then some in which the district has made decisions not to change. So the first thing you want to make sure of is that you are in the Add/Update tab, because we are in fact adding or importing new records. So the first category has to deal with title matching. And so there are at least two ways in which the system can match titles. There's a strict way and there's a more relaxed or flexible way. So this actually defaults to strict, meaning that the books that are being matched as they are importing into the library system have to match by number, by title, by material type, by author, by publication date. There is a blurb underneath it that says if an incoming title matches an existing title, it's going to skip the incoming title. Now, I'm sure that the district probably included this in the event that there are duplicate titles that are imported accidentally. But in the case of Bell High School's library, it is quite ordinary for there to be multiple titles of the same book. So in this case, although it might be a little bit more time consuming, I don't have the option not to change it. But at the end of the report, it's going to give me some type of summary in which I can go ahead and review those titles that have matching titles that are already in inventory, and I can still select to import them or not. So we have also we have copy matching selection, and it says underneath that to skip the incoming copy if its barcode matches an existing copy's barcode. Again, this is defaulted to this selection, and basically what this means is that in the event that a duplicate barcode is identified in a book that is being imported to a barcode that is already in our library system, that book as well will be pushed aside for me to review in the summary report at the end of the importing phase. The next category would be to assign copy information. So this I just leave as a default. I do not update it or add anything And basically it's saying if there is some type of information missing, at least in these two areas of the books, from the books that are being imported, if there isn't a circulation type, it will just default to book, and it will also default to available if it is not already identified as available in terms of its status. So that's just some generic circulation criteria if it doesn't happen to be already a part of the importing information. Next, we have importing the file. So I want to give you an example of where you might look on a distributor's website to actually find a file or a MARC file in which you can download and then choose to upload here. So I'm using Tidal Wave, and my last purchase from Tidal Wave was the last series of books I received for this recording was in August of 2022. So you can see it gives you the ability to, I think I probably should I'm just going to go back to my order history instead of starting on this screen. So at least in Tidal Wave, you can look under order history and it will go to MARC downloads. So that's where you would find it. You can see that my last shipment was sometime in August of this year. I'm going to go ahead and go through the process of preliminarily downloading this just as an example of how you might determine which file is the appropriate file. So it sends you to this screen, which is where I began, but what it does is it gives you an option for a standard file, a compressed file, or textbooks. So the standard file is more than likely the file that you're going to use, and all you have to do is click on the download. Textbooks would be different from library books, and so I would say that the standard MARC download would be the most appropriate file type for our library. So you would go ahead and choose that file, and here is the file type right here. And there is that file. So now that you've chosen the file, and you do have to have a MARC file, you can't just have a generic file that you put together yourself. This has to be from the vendor. The next item that you'll need to make a decision about is whether or not you want to add the titles that you're importing into a selected list, some type of resource list. So for the purposes of this file, these books vary in content, reading levels, genre types, and I do not have a particular list that I created for them. However, you could attach a list or create a list for, let's say, books that you are ordering for a particular content area or a group of teachers or something like that. You might want to, as these books are being uploaded, also set those books aside so that they can be found very easily for whatever that particular group of books is needed for. Next, you're going to make a determination in terms of whether or not the file retains any type of ebook records. In this case, no. I know specifically that I did not include ebooks, so that this report will not be accommodating any ebook records. But the very final box says to limit the job summary details to errors and warnings. And this would be great for me. I don't necessarily need an entire report that gives me a detail of every single thing that occurred in the report. I just kind of want to know what went well and what didn't go well so that I can look at the errors and make some decisions about the errors. And so those errors might include, again, duplicate barcodes, as well as titles that were skipped, that were not actually imported. So it's a very easy way for me to check those things and either make corrections or just to go ahead and add them. Once you do that, I always suggest that we preview the order by creating a preview report. And so if you click on preview, it probably will not populate immediately, but it will take you to the job manager and put it in queue so that you have a chance to look at the report before you actually submit the report. So that is the second to last thing that you'll need to do. And then finally, you'll go back and click on import. So once the import is completed, it'll take you to the job manager again, and you will have a chance to view that job manager's report and go through any discrepancies that populate on that job manager report. And other than that, that is it. And look forward to seeing video 2, which is how to import new records for individual books. Thank you.